Hi, I'm Chuck Hawley, and this is a West Marine 2-minute buyer's guide on anti-fouling paint. You know, almost regardless of where your boat's located, unless it's in really clear water for a short period of time, anti-fouling paint can keep aquatic growth from forming on the bottom of your boat. Both hard growth, like barnacles and mussels, and soft growth, like grasses and algae. In the following video, we're going to give you some pointers on how to select the right kind of bottom paint for your boat. You know, one of the first questions you're going to want to ask is whether you want a modified epoxy, an ablative, or a thin film paint. Modified epoxy paints are the traditional paint we've grown up with. As the biocide leaches to the surface, it leaves a lot of the paint residue behind. Ablative paints wear away a lot like a bar of soap, so that they're effective, but the thickness of the coating actually wears away until there's no paint left. Thin film paints are specialty paints designed for racing boats, and they generally have pretty poor protection, but they're very slick and fast in the water. The second question is whether you want a single season or multi-season paint. Single season paints are common in the Northeast and in the Great Lakes because the boats stay in the water a relatively short period of time each year. In year-round boating locations like Florida and California and other areas, you may want a multi-season paint that'll last for 2 years or possibly more. Different paints use different biocides. By far the most common biocide for many years has been cuprous oxide, but various areas of the country are starting to legislate the use of copper in the water. And so you can find paints that use zinc and other compounds which are very effective biocides if your area doesn't allow copper. Not all paints are compatible with other paints. For example, the strong solvents used in vinyl-based bottom paints can lift conventional bottom paints. And so you have to make sure that you don't put vinyls over non-vinyls. There are other examples too, where you take a paint which is a good paint, but you put it over an extremely slick racing bottom, and you can have adhesion problems. Look in the West Marine catalog for a description of how you can determine good paint compatibility. For years, anti-fouling paint was limited to dark brown, black, green, red, and blue. But now we have other biocides other than cuprous oxide, so we can actually have a pure white paint, or a pure yellow paint, or a bright red paint. This is possible because the zinc compounds don't have that heavy dark color. So if you want a bright color on your bottom, look for a zinc-based biocide. So selecting the right anti-fouling paint comes down to a couple of simple questions about the chemistry, compatibility, biocide, and color of the paint you're looking for. All of which can be answered by associates across the country in over 300 West Marine stores or online at westmarine.com.